anything?
It'll automatically start to record. You just don't stop recording.
Okay. So I did start.
Yeah, and people will start to come in now, the attendees.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I see. Okay, I see the attendees. Okay.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. We're just going to give it a minute or two for people to roll in. Thank you so much for setting aside some time tonight on this Thursday to spend your time with us. We really appreciate it. And I think that's going to be a really fantastic session. You've got an opportunity to ask some alumni here about their experiences with the program or their experiences after the program at YU, and really get some great insights and personal stories to help enrich your experience at YU. Okay, people are still coming in.
Yeah.
I'm Edison, so I'll kind of do a brief introduction here, and I'll start with myself, and then I'll introduce everyone else, and then I'm going to turn off my camera and leave you all to it. So I'm Edison. I'm the Alumni Communications Manager at Yorkville. And so you'll all be hearing from me once you graduate from the program and start getting the newsletters and such. And then this is Dr. Jeeyeon, who is our Interim Associate Dean, General Education, who will be the moderator for tonight's panel discussion as well. And then we are accompanied by three of our illustrious alumni. And that's Michelle Hamilton-Cubbitt, Jasreen Grewal, and Angelo Cosco. And Jeeyeon, why don't you take it away?
Yes, thank you so much, Edison, for creating this space. And welcome, everyone. Wonderful to see you. Thank you for taking time to join us. We have our lovely three alumni here and have lots of questions to ask them, to share their experience and their recommendations and suggestions for our current students as well. And as we share our conversation, if you like to, if you have a question you'd like to ask any one of our alumni, please feel welcome to use the Q&A, and I'll look out for your question and bring them into our conversation. So anytime, please do let us know what those questions are. So as we get started, I would like to invite each of our alumni to share a few words, to share who they are, their background, their degree, and their professional context. And then we'll have a conversation together today. So thank you again, everyone. Michelle, if I may invite you in, and then we'll go to Jasreen and Angelo. I'm just kind of going around in a circle that I see, if that's okay with everyone. So welcome, Michelle.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And I appreciate the fact that we have the opportunity to share with you today. So my name is Michelle Hamilton-Cubbitt, and I recently graduated from Masters of Education in Adult Education stream. My focus was on research. My research was on students' experiences in failure for licensure examinations. And that was a very great experience for me. And I guess I would say I'm the first to participate in that study and also to graduate through that program. I also, prior to that, I was at York University. I studied accounting for many years, and I was also a student at the Chartered Profession of Accountants. And I have been an accountant for, as a matter of fact, my role is an accounting manager for about over 15 years, but for 22 years I've been in teaching. So there's an overlap there. I do enjoy teaching, and I have also taught adults as well as children. Where I go from here, I'm not sure yet, but I do find that I have the opportunity now, since I've done research. I've been speaking with faculty members, and hopefully I might go into my doctorate shortly. And that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, so wonderful. Thank you so much. You're right. You're one of our very first from our first cohort of thesis students. I do have some questions about that because we have some peers joining us who are interested or already in the thesis pathway. So that might come up tonight as well. So thank you so much, Michelle. Jasreen, may I invite you in as well?
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. And it's a great opportunity to be here on this panel and join you all to talk about my experiences at the program. So I have completed my graduate certificate in education, that is leadership in social justice. absolutely wonderful experience. And I took 5 courses during that program. And prior to that, I had finished my master's in English and master's in education. So this was my second time, doing the education program. So I did not complete it as a master's degree because I already had one. So during my master's degree, I had the opportunity of writing my dissertation or thesis on holistic education. So I thought that this is going to be a very good opportunity for me to learn as to what is happening now in Canadian context and also in the context of international exposure that we get over here in Canada. So it's been a very wonderful experience throughout, and I've learned a lot and would be sharing more as we delve deeper into the session today. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Jasreen. Welcome. And Angelo, thanks for waiting. So would you like to share a little bit about your background and help us get to know you a little bit too?
Yes, absolutely. And good evening, everyone. And again, I'm very honored to be here to be able to speak on behalf of my experience and hopefully what I can share with everyone from my experience at Yorkville. So I did graduate. I did my master's back and completed in January of 2022. And again, it was in a master's educational leadership. And my major academic report was based on stakeholders that can use the community of practice to prepare students to work in the skilled trades. So a little bit of my background: I've spent the last 16 years in post-secondary education. I've wore many hats. I've been from a technologist to a faculty member, and for the last 8 years now, I have been in leadership as a chair, associate dean, and acting dean. Again, this program has provided me with a wealth of knowledge and shared experience that I've had over the past few years to really support my journey. And before that, I was a licensed journey person. So I was in the skilled trades for over 23 years as an automotive service technician and truck and coach technician. So I was able to take that from when I've gone through my actual working with the college system. I received my college leadership of excellence program, and that's where I met a mentor who advised me to look at Yorkville, and from there, that's where I pursued my master's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much, Angelo. We're already getting to know each other. And anyone listening and our peers too, you feel welcome to start sharing, and we'll make sure that we address some of the questions that may come up. But just to help us get started, thank you for your introductions and sharing your background and your program and certificate. As you just shared from your introduction, we're all coming from various background, and you all have different expertise in different fields. Some of you have done thesis work or certificate or the master's. We have different streams. Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering, one comment that are bringing us together is our interest in aspirations and goals for education degree. So just curious, what brought you to pursuing further studies in the educational field? And I'm wondering if you have a memorable experience that you feel comfortable to share with us that you would like our current students to know. Mm-hmm.
For me, what brought me into doing further studies in the adult education stream? As I explained in my introduction, I've always had that desire to teach, even though my main focus was accounting, even from I was in high school. However, somehow that desire to have that opportunity to teach, and with having something substantial to say I've done some, schooling on that was necessary for me. Though my own teaching, you could say my activities were just mainly my own business, actually. I was actually teaching as a teacher, like a tutor/teacher. And I had various students from various, courses and various age groups and so on. And so some have actually asked me, why don't you do your master's in adult education? And that's kind of what, inspired me as well especially university students who were being aided by my own knowledge and skills that I had in the field. So that was what stirred me, and that brought me into starting in 2021. That's when I started. And then I did about 2 years, 22, 23, and then I graduated just in April. Now, what was the most memorable for me? The most memorable was when I was doing my research. And the reason why it was most memorable, because at first I was interested in having more of a quantitative approach, because my background is also math. But somehow I was guided into the qualitative, because at the time the committee members and the supervisor, they didn't really have that much exposure with quantitative.
Yes, okay.
And based on the idea that I had, it would not facilitate the type of research that I was doing at the time. So it was very convenient for me to do the qualitative approach. And the most memorable was getting into that piece with interviewing students in my, based on what my thesis was about. I interviewed students who were already in their own professional fields, and that was very exciting, as well as the kind of guidance that I got from the faculty members, my supervisor, my committee members. They were very supportive, and I think that was the best experience I could have had, especially towards the end, which was the most important part of my study. So that was memorable for me.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Michelle, may I ask, because we have students that are interested in research, or students taking course-based or certificate courses that could ladder into master's in the future. Has research always been your sort of goal, and you started with that interest and you knew you wanted to do research, or is that something that evolved over time for you?
I'm a very inquisitive person, and in my accounting stream, there's especially the auditing part of it.
Yes.
That sense of wanting to find out information and to get knowledge, attain knowledge. So it kind of worked well with that frame of mind and my personality. As I said, I'm very inquisitive. So in terms of when I found out that the research stream was available, then I thought this would be a very good opportunity. And quite frankly, when I started quantitative studies at York University, I had no idea what it was. But then going into the research program, I got it. I understood it. It became more practical for me. So I would definitely recommend going into that research stream, because it also helps you to grow. I learned a lot about myself, more than I did before, because while you're engaging other people within research, and it depends on the type of research you're doing, because you may not necessarily engage in something similar to what I'm doing or what I did, but you actually learn more, and it is so fascinating to be a part of something great where you can actually bring new knowledge based on your interaction with your subjects, for lack of better words. So it's really something that would be very rewarding in the end, knowing that you have produced something that came out of your own experience. So I definitely would recommend based on my own experience.
Yes. Oh, thank you for sharing, Michelle. I'll come back to you a little more about the research, because I have a couple more questions, but I wonder if I could relate it to Jasreen, because she completed a certificate. And I know, Jasreen, like every course that you take, our students, we have final project, right? So I wonder if you might like to speak to that, but I'll open up to your memorable experience and what brought you to pursue further studies, because you mentioned you had a master's before and that's why you took a certificate. But if you might like to elaborate a little bit on why this particular certificate, and what was your most memorable experience going through the studies at Yorkville.
Yeah, thank you, Jee. So for me, like I said, that I had completed my master's in English and master's in education. That was long ago, way back in 2005 and 2007. So, all this while after 2007, I was into teaching, doing some diploma programs and certificate programs. But somehow I lost touch with what I was studying during my master's in English. And then I was more into teaching and learning, like curriculum development and learning more about how to design courses, restructuring courses, redevelopment of courses. So I was already teaching at Yorkville when I got to know about this opportunity of doing certificate program, either in teaching and learning or in education leadership in social justice. So I thought that teaching and learning, I've been doing a lot of work because I was already, enrolled in another diploma over here in BC, which is Provincial Instructor Development Program. So I'd finished a few courses in that. And then I thought it'll be a great opportunity for me to, go back to leadership in social justice, which was something that I was doing in my master's in English, but there was so much of gap, like 17, 18 years of gap. So I thought, just, learn a little bit more about how, I can incorporate all of this in my designing of courses and designing of curriculum, and of course, teaching as well, because I've been teaching for 17 years now, and it's more of adult education that I've been into. And back in India, I was teaching at a teacher training college. So, all of that. And then I thought this is a new opportunity. Let me take up these courses as well. And I think that it's been a great experience. And the 5 courses that I took, certificate had 5 courses, so I finished all of that. I was also thinking of taking it further and completing master's degree. This would have been the 3rd master's, but then I thought it's better that I do my doctorate. Because I'd already written one thesis earlier.
Yes.
So I was thinking that, it's better to start with PhD and, take it from there.
Oh,
And so I feel that I did the right thing by taking these courses, because now I have a broader perspective on how and what is happening around here in our educational landscape in Canada.
Yes.
And so I can take it further. There were many new concepts that I learned about, like internationalization of curriculum, which I might talk about a little later. So that was there. And the most memorable experience for me, it's been the interactions that I have had with my peers, as well as with the faculty members. And the way the faculty has been so supportive, like any emails that I've sent to them, any webinars, or any, support system that they could have provided throughout was wonderful. So that was very, very, encouraging for me. And yes, that made it memorable. And the research that I did, and the research not as in thesis, but the, projects that we did. So that was really wonderful.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, Jasreen. Is there, I know you say you'll speak more to it a little later this evening, and I wanted to ask, like, out of all the papers you had to write or the research, and even before joining Yorkville with all that expertise, is there a particular topic that you're thinking for your doctoral study, Jasreen, like looking ahead? And do you have advice for our current students that are still in their program? Because, these are all the questions that we all think about, right? Like how does these courses and learning and my experience in the graduate helping me develop my practices, and how does this help with my professional context? So based on your learning, and do you have any advice on our current students about to share as they continue their journey?
Yeah, so for me, I think I'm going to do my research more into, because curriculum has also been my area. So it could be internationalization of curriculum.
Okay.
And, also I have been looking at the concepts of diversity, equity, and inclusivity. So these could be the areas where I would be working on. And I've already written a paper on Cotter's model of change. So these are all varied areas that I'm looking at. So I've written a paper on Cotter's model of change, and within the context of AI and how we are exploring AI in today's times. So these are some of the areas that I'm looking at. And currently I'm reading Brené Brown's book, Braving the Wilderness. And, I'm also inspired by Simon Sinek's work, Humanizing Education and Humanizing Workplaces, Humanizing Corporate Sector as well. So being empathetic. And why internationalization of curriculum comes at the top is because I'm teaching a lot of international students. And what I see is that there is, there are 2 things that they have to learn. Firstly, they have to learn the format. AP is highly focused upon, so they have to learn about the format, but they also have to learn the new content. Everything that they've learned in their own home countries is lost for them. So they're reading a literature which is like Canadian and North American literature is what they're focusing on. So what my research is going to be on is that how we can incorporate other literatures into our education system over here. So that's something that I'm looking forward to.
Yes, you're going to directly take your learning into the future research. So that's
Yes.
great. Yes. And I'll ask Michelle to speak a little more too, because she's taking her master's thesis into her practice now and thinking about what's next, right? So what's the next research or the next topic? And so that would be really helpful for our peers. And Angelo, yes, may we ask you about your memorable experience and but based on all your years of expertise and professional experiences, what brought you to further studies in education context?
No, absolutely. So I've always considered myself to be a lifelong learner, even from my years of being back when I was in the trades as a journey person. So I mean, from my journey from high school, I mean, just to age myself, back in the day, we usually had grade 13. It used to, high school was 5 years for those that were pursuing university. But from there, all of a sudden, I felt that at that time, I really enjoyed some hands-on and really liked to be able to work in a technical field. But when I went into that area, not only did I excel in my trade training and schooling, but went on to get additional certifications and licenses, became a master even in all of my, as a journey person. As I continued to grow, I quickly realized that I enjoyed being able to work with apprentices and with students and co-op students. And from there, I was encouraged to look into teaching. And that's where I had then my next step was when I went into our local college here in Hamilton, Ontario. And from there, I was onboarded as a lab technician, and then made my way and became a sessional and part-time faculty, and then became a full-time faculty member. And then from there, again, continuing to look at how do I better the experience for students and for apprentices. I felt that even though I felt I really, I miss and I still do miss being in front of students as being an educator, front facing. But I felt that I really enjoyed being with stakeholders. I really wanted to make apprenticeship training and skilled trades training better. I wanted to help to remove the biases and the stigma related to it, trying to encourage underrepresented groups like young women and our Indigenous and many others to look at skilled trades as a career. And so when I started to pursue that, I was given an opportunity because a vacancy had come open for an associate dean, and it was an acting position, and I stepped into it. And then from there, so one of my mentors had pulled me aside and said, Angelo, if you'd like to pursue this as you continue to grow, I recommend that you look at further education. And that was right up my alley. I really enjoyed that. As I mentioned, I took many programs through the college sector as well as through the Colleges Ontario, and as I mentioned, the Leadership Excellence program, and then I met a colleague who had highly recommended Yorkville University and looking at a master's in education, and then from there I continued to move up. I became a full-time associate dean while I was still studying. And again, we could talk about the challenges at that point as I was trying to take on a new portfolio as well as balancing the workload as we went through. But from there, again, that quickly then catapulted when the dean position became available. And then from there, I was acting, and then I was made an offer to go to Cosco College, which is one of the largest skilled trades training colleges in Ontario, and basically that's where I've been now since 2021, and I've been very, very fortunate as we continue to work. I've been and again, I was well supported in the program. Some of the highlights that I've taken out are some of the amazing faculty that I was able to work with. I also agree that if it was the great discussions that we had I really enjoyed having the open Zoom calls that we would have where we'd all be able to actually see faces and being able to talk with each other openly and being able to share experiences. And again, I can't speak enough of that. It was fabulous. And so great experiences as we went through. And again, in my paper, again, my final paper, again, talking about a community of practice, because as I mentioned, this was perfect for myself because I continue to leverage a lot of my report as I continue to look at best ways to address a lot of the EDI issues and things that we go through today in trying to support many of these underrepresented groups in skilled trades.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's wonderful, Angelo. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, you mentioned about like with all your responsibilities and juggling school with your professional. So you talked about challenges and you all spoke about wonderful experience at Yorkville and came here with your goals and your personal aspirations as educators and leaders. I'm just wondering, Angelo, if you might like to share. Have you come across any surprising challenges or unexpected challenges once you actually started the degree and started studying, and or if you have sort of unexpected challenges that our current student might face, that you would have some suggestions and strategy to share with us?
Well, I think that the challenges that I came across were, again, the tight timelines that I had, not because of the degree, because again, that was well laid out. I think that there was obviously a concern of not procrastinating and putting things off. You need to make sure that you are truly dedicating time. But the challenges that I would have, again, from my professional career, where I would all of a sudden be tasked to put together a presentation because a minister might be coming from our local government or something on the next day. And if I was holding off to do some of my discussions or working on some of my assignments, it definitely became a little bit of a challenge. So, but again, one of the things that I've always learned is don't panic, adjust. And so I've always been able to make sure that I had that proper time management. Time management is very crucial. But again, just make sure that you're breathing as you're going through, because I found that those were some of the I truly feel that the program was excellently laid out. And again, expectations were very clear. And so when we're able to work through, I was able to look ahead to see basically how I would be able to break out a lot of my assignments. When I started the program back in 2020, in January, I had just been in the hospital. I had just received a kidney. As a kidney transplant. I started my program in the hospital, in my bed, on the laptop. My kids would come and see me and say, "Angelo, Dad, you can contact the school. I'm sure you can work something out." No, that's your generation. My generation will continue to keep working through. It's just the way that I am. I think that it's just basically I just stayed calm, and I really got entrenched in it. And I think that you just need to be engaged. And that's where I felt that I was able to overcome a lot of barriers.
Wow, Angelo, wow, you're moving through the graduate studies in hospital bed. That's thank you for sharing, Angelo. And graduate studies, it's not easy at all, right? But having to go through what you went through, and all of our peers having family and professional work, and finding that balance between work and study. So I'm just wondering, Jasreen, do you have any kind of helpful strategies, or how did you overcome some of your challenges? And was there anything you like to share that might be helpful for our current students who are still working through their program?
So I would echo what Angelo said, that the course was very well laid out, and no problems in that. But yes, time management is very crucial. We need to have a semesterly schedule. We also need to have a weekly and a daily list as to what we need to complete. And also because I was in BC, so I was getting 3 hours less than Toronto and 4 hours less than Atlantic people. I don't know, some deadlines were 12 o'clock and 11 o'clock. So that was another issue that I was facing. And many a times instructors have been very, very supportive. They've given those extra 3 hours. So if somebody is doing the course from BC, I think they can just, contact their instructors for that. That's my suggestion, because I've done that with kids and with, other professional commitments, personal commitments. There's a lot that's going on. And the Wednesday deadlines were particularly very, very daunting for me because we had to make initial posts by Wednesday, 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. my side. So that was very, very daunting for me. And I wanted to read all the materials and, post my initial post on time so that I don't lose marks, especially because of that. If you're lacking somewhere in your written work, then maybe yes, but if it is due to time, then you don't want to. So Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays was particularly very heavy for me. And then there was a deadline. And so that's something that was very challenging, but I think I overcame that with proper time management. Discipline is the key. That's what I would like to tell the students right now, that you have to be very, very disciplined. You have to go through the materials. And of course, you have to make your post by the deadline. And for the major assignments that were there, we always had more time, because we knew what we are going to be doing in the 4th week or the 7th week. So that could be done accordingly. We had ample time to plan. So I just feel that you have to stay on top of things, and whatever your personal commitments might be, whatever your professional commitments might be, you have to just plan accordingly and then make your assignments on time. Deliver in.
Yes, we all know that Wednesday OP, original post due date, right? That very rigorous, very intensive.
Very rigorous.
Yes, and you're not alone, Jasreen. As you know, I'm also joining from BC, and our faculty and students are all across Canada, coast to coast to coast, and some are joining us outside of our Canada too. So we're working with multiple time zone. But Jasreen, I'm so glad that you reached out to your instructor, and I'd like to echo that from you and our peers listening today, that any challenges, right, including time zones or any challenges, I hope that you feel welcome to reach your instructor, because we're all here for you. And so I know that you, Angelo and Michelle, kept very close in contact with your instructors and advisors throughout your studies. So I would like to echo you that we're here for you. So anytime you need support, please do reach out. Let us know what you're going through to work through it together, right? So thank you, Jasreen, for highlighting that. And Michelle, how about you, Michelle? Any surprises or unexpected challenge? How did you overcome them? Or if you have any strategies and advice that you like to share with our students as well? And Michelle, may I ask you to unmute for us? Yes, thank you.
Yes, sorry about that. So my strategy started very early because when I started the program, I was lost, basically, because I had no idea what exactly was expected of me. It was a very new environment. And this was 2022, of course, after COVID. So it was different. It was a different, time frame for me. Now, having gone through a totally different type of studying, totally different type of programs that I was used to, I wasn't sure what exactly was expected of me. Even the terminologies, they were very foreign to me because I had no formal training or any exposure in education before, except for my passion for teaching, which I did, as I explained. This was since 2002. My kids were small at the time, and I just had that fascination in teaching. I taught them. I have 4 boys. I taught them, and then I went on to teaching other children. Then it expanded from there. So that's all I had, and I didn't really know the terminologies per se, but I knew the content, and that's how I was able to be successful in my teaching. However, now going into the program, it took me some time to understand what exactly was expected. It took me some time to understand the terminologies and to know exactly how to apply the terminologies within my writings. What helped me a lot was the fact that we had the online writing exercises. For example, when we were told, we had to choose from different sections of assignments. And then
Yes.
once you select the type that you thought you were comfortable exploring, then you had to post that information in the chat or in that group assignment section. And it was, like I said, it was challenging. I think the first comments that I got was, I need to stay close to the terminologies. I was kind of using my own thoughts, kind of, and I thought that, okay, yes, we did get readings to complete, but I kind of scanned through them a bit, and then I thought I got the gist of it, and now I just need to write. But that was wrong, totally wrong. And I remember my professor said, yes, I like your ideas, but you need to stay close to what you're being asked, and ensure that you use the information that's provided in the readings. And so that's kind of how I started. And like I said, that was my challenge, but I did try to explore what she said to me. And once she said that to me, then it was easy sailing from there, because once I understood and I started to go into depth, like I started to do extra research on the terminologies to kind of familiarize myself with information. And also, having not been in that environment where you're writing for a while, because in accounting, you don't necessarily write. Yes, you do case studies, but it's a different thing, as I explained. So I had to kind of get back into that frame of mind, writing again. And I love writing, but it wasn't at the level that I thought I should be writing at. And after I got over that hump, then I started, spending more time. And as Jasreen said,
Yes.
you have to be disciplined. You have to, spend that time in the content and in the material. And that's what I did. And the same discipline I had with when I did my accounting work, because like I explained, I was doing chartered accounting, auditing kind of studies. That took time. You spent like 5 hours practicing case studies, and you didn't move from there until you were done. But I don't mean that you're going to need to do 5 hours of studies in adult education, but you break it up, but you just need to focus. So that's what I did. And I found that eventually I did well, because I listened to the instructions, and I spend the time and the work and ensure that the commitment was there, and not take it lightly. Because I find that sometimes when you have like a nonchalant kind of approach, then that's the kind of result you're going to get. So you definitely have to put the time and take it seriously. And that was my challenge. And I did overcome, because in no time I was getting the grades I wanted, and I understood exactly where I needed to be and how I need to get to where I am today.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Michelle. Appreciate you sharing that journey, that difficult stages of starting, because we're all go through that, right? As a graduate students, and you're all professional and experts, and going through graduate study is a new experience that we go through together. And there's all kinds of challenges and struggles. I'm wondering, for our peers listening, if you have your own struggles or you're finding something difficult that you're working through, and if you are comfortable to share, please feel welcome to share in the chat, and maybe one of our alumni students can share some suggestions or thoughts, because they've gone through those struggles and challenges, because they have overcome, because they've completed their study and here with us today. So you are not alone. So if you have particular challenges or questions, then please do let us know. So then, Michelle, if I may ask, now that you've gone through this challenge and you've completed your thesis and you're looking into the future, in looking back to your experience, both positive and both difficult experience, is there anything you wish you had known that you didn't know while you're going through it all, or is anything you would do differently that you think might be helpful for our current students?
What I didn't know, well, there's a few things I didn't know. I thought at first that within the like in being introduced to different teachers, I thought I would have the same approach for each course.
Okay.
I did not know that you had to have, it's almost like starting a new slate each
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Yes, there were some overlapping in terms of some of the material, but you have to, and another reason why this happened to me, where I had to start a new slate each time, is because every professor is different. Each professor have a different expectation, have a different way of expressing his or herself. And it's different in the sense where I can say for myself, some like when you write a lot, some when you write minimal. And and then maybe the feedback also was different. So there was diversity there. And I didn't understand at first because I wish I had known that when I started. However, what I thought was it was very helpful for me. I looked at it in a positive way because I was able to understand different ways of like learning and teaching as well. Having the exposure with different professors gives you the opportunity to understand that not all teachers are the same. So you're going to have to understand exactly what's expected each time that you go into a new course. And that was one of the things that I noticed when I started. And I wish I'd known that, but it also helped me. And I'm glad that I have this opportunity to share this today. So, you understand that don't assume that one professor is the same as the next one, and have a different expectation based on what the professor is anticipating or expecting, like the objective of the overall course. Stay within that objective and ensure that you follow suit. And that's kind of where I would suggest in terms of, I wish I'd known it, but now I'm glad I know, and I can also expand, explore and share with others.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. That's really important that you'll meet very different professors, instructors over the course of your program, and to reach out to them with any questions. And they have different style of teaching, and you have different steps of learning. So it's like a starting again, but we're learning about each other each time. So I appreciate you sharing and giving heads up to our students about that. Now, Angelo, if I may, we have a question from one of our peers who is just about to finish 9th and going to the 10th course very soon. So Angela, may I ask, were you in a course space when you completed your degree in your degree program?
I was. Yes, I was.
Yeah, so would you mind, may I invite you to share your thoughts, just kind of thinking about back to your experience through your both positive and challenging, looking back, if there's anything you would change. And our peer, Kelly, thank you for your question. She's asking if you have any particular tips as she enters the 10th course in choosing independent study and so forth. So if you have any thoughts on that, we would really appreciate it.
No, absolutely. So I think that as far as anything that I would have changed from the get-go for myself would have been ask if when you don't know. I think at the very beginning, I struggled with trying to kind of make my way through. I think that, as Michelle had mentioned, it's trying to understand sometimes the different faculty members and the different modalities of the way that they communicate. But once I got myself right into it, I really realized that faculty were just fabulous. They did not hesitate to reach out, and we were able to have some great conversations. I know that when it came down to making my choice regarding my major academic report, some of the things that I did, I kind of procrastinated for a while on really what direction I wanted to go in. But Dr. Wendy Craiglin-Gauthier, who is our research manager and actually was my professor during that period of time, was very supportive, where she just basically, again, reached out to me and said, Angelo, I still haven't heard nothing from you yet. What's happening? So I wish I would have just thrown some of the ideas out earlier, because all of a sudden, as soon as we got on a call and had a conversation, she was able to really still put it on myself to make those decisions, but really asked me some real pointed questions in regards to some of the direction that I was going. And just like that, I knew exactly where I was going. So advice that I could really make is start that communication early. And that was even before I had selected Professor Lorraine Godden to be my support and my guide as I worked through. So I mean, it was that's where all of a sudden I realized, and in the end, it did take me another month before I was able to complete it. But nevertheless, I think that the reaching out again and really making sure that you're communicating. Try not to battle it yourself as you're trying to work through. I even try to discuss it with colleagues at work and things, but no, I think you know what? Reach out to your professor. They're a wealth of knowledge, and they could definitely help you. When you're, because again, that really took away about 2-3 weeks of me procrastinating, sitting at my again at my project board, and I'm looking at different directions and just stalling, where I could have really have utilized that time more efficiently if I would have just reached out. So again, they've been just totally amazing.
Yeah, appreciate you sharing, Angelo. So Kelly, if I may kind of continue Angelo's thoughts there a little bit to chime in. Our students are now having the self-directed inquiry class as their 10th exit course. So in this case, Kelly and everyone who is in this course-based pathway, you will have an instructor guiding you through the 7 weeks. So you will have step-by-step process of writing the final inquiry paper. And so if you're depending on your field and your professional context, you do have to choose a topic that you're passionate about, but that is directly related to your professional context and your degree program. So in this case, if you're in the educational leadership, your topic needs to relate in some way to that topic, and you will have an opportunity to do a deep literature review. So like Angelo says, it's good to start kind of brainstorming and thinking about ideas and have few in mind ready to go. And then when you start your self-directed inquiry class, you will have a chance to dive deeper into that topic. So Kelly, if you'd like us to expand a little more, please let us know. I hope some of that thoughts from Angelo was helpful, and we're happy to share more details. So thank you, Kelly, for your question. And then Jasreen, is there anything you like to share for our students, like if we're still in the program moving through, that you like to share based on your experience and what you had to go through to overcome some of your challenges?
I feel that the expectations were different, like Michelle has already pointed this out. But I also feel that, looking at the diverse, faculty that we have, and of course, as human beings, we are all very diverse. So the expectations are going to be different. And it was a good experience for me, but it always used to take me a little while to understand. And I think that it's great to get in touch in the first week itself with the professors as to, to understand as to what are the expectations if they didn't really get to know what the expectations are, because the expectations are written on the course bulletin and news. It's not like they're not mentioned. But just because you're moving from one course to another, you take a little bit of time to adjust to that. So I think that if you haven't understood any components of the expectations, it's best to reach out to the professors. Let them know what your queries are, what your concerns are, so that they can answer those questions the very first week. If you get in touch with them at a later stage, like 3rd week or 4th week, by then you have already lost marks, which is not a very nice thing. So it's best that you are, in touch with your professors in the very first week. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I have learned. And also, because I was doing provincial instructor development program, that program is much lighter than the program that I was enrolled now into. So that was like, in 2 weeks, we were giving one assignment. There were no discussion questions. So I was in that frame of mind when I joined this program. And, for this one, because there were multiple courses, one after the other that you're taking, you have to know as to what the expectations are. If you know what the expectations are and you're doing everything that has to be done, I think you're good to go. reading the materials and posting and discussing the projects with the professors. And the professors are very, very helpful. The moment you write an email to them, they respond. They even meet you on Zoom and they answer all your queries. So I say to all the participants here that please get in touch with your professors whenever you need to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasreen, so much. We've been talking a little bit about your educational experience through the program, and now you're in the field again, doing all your work and moving forward into new projects, potential new research, and new work. I'm opening up to all of you. Any advice or suggestions for our students who are going to be finishing soon? Some like Kelly, for example, she's already going into her 10th course. Looking into the future, any advice for students moving forward after they complete their master's degree? So any job or career search process you went through, or resources you like to share, or any emerging trends that you notice now that you're out in the field again? So anything that you would like to share, that would be wonderful. Career one is a big one. So
I'll start first. So
sure, Michelle.
I would say, first of all, what I've learned after having done my field of study is make sure whatever you get into, you're very passionate about it, because that will take you through the next step. You have to have that passion. Right now, I feel like I'm burning a little bit with passion, because after I finish my research, I just feel like I just want to do more after having a taste of that. So this is why I started thinking about, how do I go into the doctorate program? I started to look into different schools who offer different, areas of studies that I am interested in. And I also just found out the difference between the doctorate and the PhDs, and all the different, whether you're doing a doctorate in education or a PhD, depending if there's a philosophy or portion to it, or, whatever it is that you're actually getting into. So that is something that I would advise. And I guess based on the fact that I'm actually green at it right now, because I'm just getting into it, I think definitely don't delay, get as much information as you can. And I also just found out that you can get funding as well. Like this is the first, me getting my feet wet. But at the same time, there's so much information out there. And I also would emphasize that it's important to reach out to those who have already gone through the profession in what you're interested in, or the studies. They can lead you into that direction, and that would also avoid making mistakes, or even getting into something and then that's not really what you wanted to get into. So I would definitely recommend do your due diligence in finding all the information that you can, and get into something that you're really passionate about. And I would also suggest not delaying, because if you lose that passion, or if you lose that momentum, then it's going to take longer for you to get in and start and finish. So that would be my recommendation, based on how I'm feeling and based on what I am doing at this point in time.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It's amazing. I think that'd be very helpful for our students. Appreciate you sharing those wisdom and experiences that you gained from your graduate studies. Jasreen and Angelo, any kind of final wisdom of words or suggestions?
Yeah, so if I may go first.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that you need to have a strong LinkedIn profile. Very, very important. Most of the jobs that are there, your job, other people will search you on LinkedIn for that. So have a very strong LinkedIn profile, and also participate in any discussions or study groups that you can on LinkedIn. So, whatever you're passionate about, whatever your preferences are, you could be following those groups and those people, and you get to know what they're doing in their field of study, what is their research, what is the pattern, and of course, getting in touch. If you want to follow research, what is happening in your area of interest, you need to know about that. So LinkedIn is a very good way to know about what others are doing in that area. So I think that you should be connected with your peers and connected with alumni and connected with anybody who is there in the area that you are interested in. So I think that's a good way to know as to what is happening around you, and also where do you get started? What do you need to do? So I think that's very valuable. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jasreen.
Yeah, so I think that from myself as well, and being a hiring manager myself, one of the things I always tell a lot of candidates, when people will ask me, how can I prepare? Or if people were not successful, what could I have done better? And one of the things I always tell folks, especially when they're applying, is that what's going to separate you? What's the big differentiator? And and the one thing is, one of the things that I've found is my passion, working hard, my dedication to the craft as you go forward. So how you demonstrate that? One of the things I've taken out of my program, one of the things I really enjoyed was with Professor Bolter when we did our e-portfolios. And when I did the shift, when I pursued the career that I'm in now and the new profession that I'm in now, I did insert an e-portfolio with my most folks just a standard resume, and they would just submit that. And again, and that was one of the big differentiators that HR and my hiring manager was very impressed with. And that's why I'll tell folks, what's going to separate you from all the rest of the candidates? So pursue hard, work hard. I know, and again, from everything that I've taken out, make sure you do your research, especially on the courses that you're taking, the programs that you're taking, the direction that you're taking. Is it best aligned with the direction that you want to achieve? So I know that for myself, again, this is where I felt that the master's program at Yorkville and my educational leadership was just exceptional. And I reference and work with all of the pieces that I have attained from that as I continue to work forward. As I mentioned, for myself, it's skilled trades right now. It's, we all hear about that in the news. Well, we always need people in skilled trades, but people have been living in silos when it comes to that. So really using all of the wealth of knowledge and experience that was shared from the amazing professors that I absorbed, I have been able to take that with me. So I recommend that as you go forward, leverage and really being able to get and really communicate that out to where you're trying to achieve. I agree. I think that, through LinkedIn, having your profile, all that is very crucial. But because it's really how you promote yourself today. And again, the pieces that I had taken from Yorkville has definitely done very well for myself. And I am also looking at pursuing a PhD as well and a doctorate in education as I continue. So I made that promise to Professor Wendy, and because I know when I was in Fredericton for the convocation,
yes,
she corralled me and told me, you need to pursue it. Skilled trades needs you to continue your voice. So I really appreciate that. I mean, they've been very inspiring, and again, I've really taken that to heart, and I continue wanting to share that as I go forward.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much, Angelo. I know we only have a minute or two left. I'm just going to make sure if any of our peers might have final question you'd like to ask. And while we wait, I just like to echo all of you. I think you heard from all our alumni tonight. You're here because you have your passion, your goals, your aspirations as leaders and educators. As all our alumni have shared with you, we encourage you to connect those passion and your research to your coursework as you move through course to course. And whether you're in course-based that are going to work on the self-directed inquiry final paper, or you're in thesis route pathway, which we're going to do the research, all of us will be engaging some form of inquiry and research. So continue to connect that passion and inquiry question as you move through course to course, so that by the time you reach the 10th course, or by the time you reach the time when you start your thesis work, that you have that topic that you're passionate about in mind, and that you can continue to develop and strengthen your theoretical framework that Michelle spoke briefly about, all the methodology, all the new terminologies you're learning, so that they kind of come together for you as you move through the course. course. And as you also heard, we're all here for you. You definitely have all your instructors and you have your leadership team. Angela mentioned Dr. Wendy Kraglan-Gauthier. So if you have any questions related to adult education or thesis-based pathways, she's the person to reach out. She'll love to hear from you. And if you're in the educational leadership program, that would be our Dr. Sepide Mahani. So please, if you have questions, reach out to your instructors and your chairs, and we're all here to support you. And thanks to Edison and his team, we will also be growing our alumni connections. Like tonight, it's our first time connecting with our alumni, and we love to stay in connect and stay in touch with you. We like to know what you're doing, your success stories. We're cheering for you. We're so happy, and congratulations to Michelle, Jasreen, and Angelo. Recently graduated, completed their studies. And Edison is, as mentioned at the beginning, he's working on many wonderful new initiatives to help us connect with one another. And some of you may know we've also started our newsletter. So I will be reaching out to many of you to ask how you're doing, share with us your news, and so that we can continue to grow together as Faculty of Education YU community members. So thank you, all of you, so much for being here with us, and to all our peers that joined us tonight. I know you are all here listening and being present with us. So thank you, everyone, so much. And we wish every one of you all the best as you continue your studies. And to 3 of our alumni, all the best as you continue with your new careers and projects as well. So thank you, everyone, very much. If there's another question you want to ask and didn't get to ask tonight, please let me and Edison know. I know Edison is planning more future events, so we'll answer those questions in the coming months as well. So please do reach out to us. Any final words before we say goodnight? And Edison is giving us the email here. So that's the email where you can reach out to Edison with any questions. And you can also reach out to me as well. So thank you very much, everyone. So lovely to see you tonight, Jasreen, Angelo, and Michelle. Wonderful to meet with you and share. Hope our conversations and that was a bit helpful for all of our peers. And we look forward to the next time when we connect together. So good night, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. All the very best. Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
night.
everyone. And hi, Julie. Thank you for your message. I'm going to stay here. Joining us. There you go. Thank you, Julie, for being here.
Have a good night, everyone. Take care.
Bye, Michelle. Thank you
everyone.
so
Thank you.
much. Jasreen, thank you so much. Good night.
Bye. Good night.